Hello, everyone. Welcome to Building a Better Life with Christ. I'm Larry. This is a topic that I should expect to encounter on the road I've chosen to walk. So many definitions and opinions from leading organizations. With a few exceptions, all I thought I saw were excuses. Let me explain. To me, my stance was pretty firm that an addiction was voluntary and a disease is involuntary. As I kept doing research, reading doctors' papers, and looking at major health organization websites, definitions, none had a clear-cut answer. Most of my messages come pretty easy, but this one was difficult, to say the least. I don't know if it was all the mind-numbing rhetoric in the doctors that they use in their papers, or maybe what was real is that God was teaching me a lesson. I want to state now that this is my opinion, and I hope that it helps others on their path to recovery. I'll be saying a few things that may offend others during this message. In today's world, everyone is offended with something and try to act like the world is ending because of it. Just listen to what someone says and either use it for good discussion and debate, or agree to disagree, as my wife and sister like to say a lot. There's no reason to fight, call names, because you don't like another person's opinion. In this message on some of my opinions, remember that I don't hate anyone. I've even forgiven the man for killing my brother. If I could forgive that man, do you think I'll be offended by anything anyone says or does that I don't believe? I don't expect everyone to feel the same way that I do, especially if you're hurting. All I could do is ask that you listen to what I say and think about it. I looked at many websites, and the best one with definitions for diseases was the CDC, which is the one that pretty much everyone uses nowadays anyways. The website is right here where I got my definitions. There really wasn't much in the form of what we would call addictions or life issues. There were a few, and I'll talk about those in a sec, but one really hit me. I've been stuck on whether mental illness was a disease or not. I didn't think it was an addiction. It's not voluntary, but can be brought on with damage from some addictions. Genetics play a part in it. We'll get into that more shortly also. Mental illnesses like PTSD are brought about by traumatic experiences that aren't voluntary. In doing this message, this is the first part of me changing my mind. Doesn't happen very often. I do have bipolar and PTSD. I didn't find out until recently that on my father's side, it looks as though bipolar has gone a long way up the tree, family history. I wish that I had known that earlier instead of family doctors throwing antidepressants at me, throwing my life into a miserable cycle of side effects from those things. Have a family doctor find and refer you to a psychiatrist. Let them work with you and your meds to get better. In most cases, mental illness can be controlled with minimal medication as long as you follow what the psychiatrist says to do. Even if you have an issue of the brain, it's not an excuse to rampage and do everything bad just because it feels good. Even in my life of not thinking right, which was a lot, I knew what I was doing was wrong, and always knew I would regret what I was doing later. I knew that I should stop lifting that arm for another drink of liquor. I knew sleeping with every woman I saw was bad, especially when I knew it was going to hurt my fiancée, and eventually the woman that later became my wife. I knew that the verbal and mental abuse to my wife was terrible. but I kept going. I always made excuses. It was never my fault, but it was. All of those addictions brought on by a disease. It's not an excuse, but a weak constitution of who we are to let those happen. I hear and see it all the time. To say I'm not the only one going through those issues would be a huge understatement. Mental illness is real, and anyone that doesn't believe that better study up and listen to the ones they love who might be in the throes of mental illness, because the one thing that some people can't control is wanting to leave everything behind and see what's on the other side. I'm pretty sure y'all can figure out what I mean. And unfortunately, I've seen and know others that have left us. I didn't mean to turn this whole message into a mental illness message, but I go where the fingers go on the typing screen. I know I use this verse a lot, but I'm going to use the first part of the verse, but I'm going to put the whole verse right here on the screen. In Romans 12:2, the first part says, "Do not conform to the patterns of this world." Now think about it. Look at all the differences of opinions today. It's one way or the other, with no in between. Look at the politics. I talked about that before. Politics are terrible. You also have groups like BLM, LGBTQ+, Antifa, white supremacists, and other groups. It's like trying to walk your way through a landmine infested area. It's terrible. You can't say anything without offending someone. It's real bad. Even comedians are afraid to say certain things they used to say all the time. Think about the effect this has on other people who just want to be normal, if there is such a thing. How about, just for an example, fat shaming a person? Skinny's the only way. You see that in the commercials all the time. Did they think for a second maybe that person has a disease of the thyroid and they really don't have an addiction to food or something else like that? Then the ones that were addicted to food have gone from eating to bulimia, anorexia, or other dangerous weight loss addictions. One thing that I feel strongly about now is genetics. Yes, we have diseases of the brain and body passed down from family as far back as we can see. Even tendencies for addictive personalities. A lot of conforming to the world is being free to do what you want. Remember I said I would probably offend some? I still love you even if I don't know you. Just like genetics made it fun for me to go out and have sex with every woman, doesn't make it right, didn't make it right. Neither does same-sex relationships or wanting to change what God made you. I have and had great gay friends that I will do anything for, and I'm sorry that I don't stand up like I should about God for this topic in person. Some things are just harder to talk about. I'm trying to change a lot of who I am because I care. Not about what the world thinks about me, but what God thinks about me. Now, do I think addictions are diseases? No. But they can and are brought about by conditions and health issues that would be considered diseases. We choose who we are, whether mentally ill or not. That includes the things that we do, the addictions that we choose to keep doing. I'm asking you, please choose God, church, or Christian recovery if you have any doubts of who you are and where you fit in. He has his arms open wide, waiting for you always. I just wanted to put these up here on screen, that if you ever have any thoughts of suicide, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I have it right here. Also, I never noticed this before, never found it, but especially for the younger ones that are more comfortable texting or going onto the computer and talking, go to the website, crisistextline.org. I got a picture of it right here. I think I got the right side. I think it's right here. On the phone it says, in a crisis, text HOME, HOME, to 741-741 to connect with the crisis counselor. Please don't underestimate the power of just listening to someone. If they come to you in their hour of need, you not only could make their life so much better, but you might save it too. Don't jump to conclusions about a person's problems. Try to understand and show God's love. Now, I'm still getting the schedule with the ladies about them doing their messages. It's coming real soon. They are. They're just not used to writing it for the first one. My wife, I won't mention any names. My wife, I'm sorry, I did that again, didn't I? I'm really excited for that. But if my wife is not ready for next week, I will have a message, and I can't wait to get that going. Women have such a different point of view than what I do and other men do. But please remember, join the public Facebook page, Building a Better Life with Christ. Share in the topics of the messages that I give. Maybe even give ideas for topics needed for others to hear that I haven't yet given. Please also visit buildingabetterlifewithchrist.com. It has all the videos and a contact page to reach my wife or I. Also, if you need prayer requests or wish to share praise reports, I will share those with my Prayer Warriors team to make sure we get everyone the prayers and attentions that they need. I hope to see y'all next message. Until then, stay strong, stand firm, stay the path, and most of all, stay faithful. I love y'all, and thank you so much for sharing your time with me. Have a blessed week. Thank you.